Good morning, everyone. So, guys, today I'm going to be making a KTB hive, Kenya Toba hive. So, I went to my farm 3 days ago. So, I discovered that one of my KTB has been damaged, and there are some ants inside that are weakening them from their production. So, I decided to make a new box. I went to timber this early morning, and I bought some wood material for the KTB. So as you can see, I've already cut the measurement for the KTB. You can see. You can see. Okay, this is it. You can see this one now. This particular one is the cover to the front. Same as this. This is the particular cover to the front. You can see this particular one now. Then this one is the box itself. It's going to be 3. So you're going to be watching how we are going to be making the KTB. For those of you that have been asking me, how do I usually make my Kenya Toba hive? So this is how I used to make my KTB. Join us as we make the KTB. Let's go.
At this stage, I'm done gathering all the nails I will be using for this work. Now I'm going to start by fixing the side cover. The side cover is always the first step whenever you are making a KTB hive. One very important thing you must always keep in mind is your measurement. Your measurements must be accurate and equal on both sides. If your measurements are not correct, it will create serious problems for you later. As you can see, I'm trying to match the boards together properly. Since I'm working alone and I don't have anyone to help me hold the wood, I have to improvise. What I do is that I first place 2 nails on one side and then repeat the same on the other side just to hold the boards in position. Once the boards are held together, I can now adjust them properly and align everything to be straight. After aligning, I start hammering the nails in properly to secure the boards together. This is something I always advise. Don't wait for someone to help you before you start working. You can do this yourself if you understand the process. Now I noticed that the first nail I placed was not strong enough, so I had to remove it and reposition it properly. After removing it, I placed another nail in a better position to make it stronger and more stable. As you can see, I continue repeating the same process on the other side. I make sure everything is aligned before fully hammering the nails in. For each joint, I usually use about 3 nails. At first, I may put 2 just to hold it, then later I add the 3rd nail to make it strong and firm. Now that the sides are coming together, I also pay attention to how the box is structured. One important thing in beekeeping is that your hive should not have multiple entrances. There should be only one entrance at the front where the bees will enter and exit. At this point, the box is already taking shape. Making a KTB hive is actually very easy once you understand the process. Personally, I can make up to 5 KTB hives in a day, but making a Langstroth hive is more complex and takes more time. As you can see, I continue adding more nails to strengthen the structure. I double-check each part to make sure everything is firm and properly joined. Now I move on to take the measurement of the hive I want to transfer from. The measurements are not exactly the same, but I will still manage it because the hive I am transferring from has cross comb. In this case, I will be removing the comb and arranging it properly in a straight direction inside the new hive. Even if the measurement is not perfect, the bees will adjust and continue their work. Now I proceed to cover the bottom part of the hive. This part is very important. If there are openings at the bottom, it will create problems for the bees and for you as a beekeeper. I nail the bottom carefully, making sure there are no unwanted spaces. Instead of cutting everything perfectly straight, I sometimes leave a slight extension. This acts like a small landing area for the bees. When bees come back with pollen and nectar, they need somewhere to land before entering the hive. That is why I design it this way. At this point, I needed help sorting the nails, so I asked my younger brother to assist me. The nails I'm using are 1.5-inch nails, and I had to separate them from the 2-inch nails. Now I move to creating the entrance of the hive. Using my chisel and hammer, I carve out the entrance. The entrance should not be too wide and not too small. It should be moderate so that bees can enter and exit freely without stress. After shaping it properly, I smooth it out with the chisel to make it clean. Now I continue with the same process of assembling and nailing the remaining parts of the hive. As you can see, everything is going smoothly, although there are small challenges along the way. At one point, I accidentally hit my hand with a hammer, which was very painful, but I had to continue the work. Sometimes nails don't go in as expected, so I have to remove them and reposition them properly. This is part of the process. Now I noticed another challenge. One side of the hive is not wide enough to contain the board I need. This means I have to cut another piece to fit that space. Since I don't have a cutting machine, I have to use my manual saw. Even though it was difficult at first, I continued until I was able to make progress, but I still have to do it. This is real-life work. I take the measurement carefully, then mark the wood so I know exactly where to cut. You will always find a way. After marking, I begin cutting. So guys, this is the process of building a KTB hive step by step. The saw is not moving smoothly. If you follow these steps carefully, you can also build your own hive. At this point, I start trying different methods. Don't forget to subscribe, drop your comments, and let me know what you want me to show you next. I keep trying different approaches. This is Wisdom Honey Farm, but I keep pushing here to guide you. That's what real beekeeping and farming is all about. So patience and persistence. I kept trying. I tried different methods, different measurements, different angles, just to get the exact cut I needed. But no matter how much effort I put in, it still wasn't working the way I wanted. At that point, I had to pause and think. Then an idea came to my mind. I decided to try using a stronger cutting tool. I called my younger brother to assist me, but he wasn't around at that moment. As you can see in the background, that is my mother passing by. This is real life, real environment, and real work. Since I couldn't get help, I continued on my own. I kept trying again and again, but the wood was still too hard to cut properly, so I decided to go inside and bring a knife. The house you're seeing there is where I came from. It's a simple hut made with grass. That is where I live and work from. This is why I always say I'm working hard for a better future. I don't want shortcuts and I don't want to cheat. I believe in building something real, step by step. Now back to the work. The main challenge I was facing was getting the correct measurement for the piece I wanted to cut. I had to keep adjusting the measurement, marking it, cutting, and checking again. Eventually, I was able to get something close to what I needed. At this point, I want to mention something important. I did not show you the full process of how I made the top bars for this KTB hive. The reason is because I already had some leftover materials from my previous work, so I used them to save time. But if you are interested, I can make a full video showing you exactly how to construct strong and accurate top bars. This is very important because the direction you give your top bars will determine how your bees build their comb. From my experience, when I started, I didn't understand this properly. That is why many of my hives in the farm today have cross-combing issues. But even with that, I didn't give up. That is something I want you to learn. No matter the mistakes, you keep going and improving. Now, as you can see, the box is fully completed. Even though I didn't show every single step, including the lid construction, everything was done right here by me. Let me show you the inside of the hive. As you can see, these are the top bars arranged inside. There are about 25 of them. I even tested the strength of the box, and as you can see, it is very solid and well constructed. This is the result of patience, effort, and consistency. So the next step now is the main part. I will be transferring bees from my old hive into this new one. That process is very important, and I will be showing you everything step by step. By tomorrow evening, or next tomorrow evening, I will drop that video for you, so make sure you stay connected. Today is May 2nd, and I will be doing the transfer today. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and drop your comments. This is Wisdom Honey Farm, and I'm here to show you real beekeeping experience. So it didn't end there. I kept trying. I tried different methods, different measurements, different angles, just to get the exact cut I needed. But no matter how much effort I put in, it still wasn't working the way I wanted. At that point, I had to pause and think. Then an idea came to my mind. I decided to try using a stronger cutting tool. I called my younger brother to assist me, but he wasn't around at that moment. As you can see in the background, that is my mother passing by. This is real life, real environment, and real work. Since I couldn't get help, I continued on my own. I kept trying again and again, but the wood was still too hard to cut properly. So I decided to go inside and bring a knife. The house you're seeing there is where I came from. It's a simple hut made with grass. That is where I live and work from. This is why I always say I'm working hard for a better future. I don't want shortcuts and I don't want to cheat. I believe in building something real step by step. Now back to the work. The main challenge I was facing was getting the correct measurement for the piece I wanted to cut. I had to keep adjusting the measurement, marking it, cutting, and checking again. Eventually, I was able to get something close to what I needed. At this point, I want to mention something important. I did not show you the full process of how I made the top bars for this KTB